Hey everyone, it's David Michael. I don't really participate in sub contests or response videos or things like that. Um, just for the mere fact that I never seem to get around to doing them. So it's not really any slight on anyone that I follow or that I regularly comment on. I, I see them posted and then I never get around to doing them. But I saw one that Billy Hurst is doing, and in the title of this, you'll see Billy Hurst's name, so you can go over there and see his great videos. But Billy is celebrating his 200th sub. Way to go, Billy! You know I've made mention of this before. You're one of my favorite channels. Plus, you get to see a lot of pro NHL hockey. So just on that alone, you're cool. Of course, that's a Canadian point of view. Billy has a sub contest to celebrate his 200th subscription. Basically, it's the name game with Billy Hurst, and so he wants you to take an album for each letter of your name, and I guess maybe make it something interesting or something you have a story for. And he'll enter your name into a contest. So if you haven't subscribed to Billy's channel, please go there and subscribe. And if you get it in, I think by early March, watch his video that announces the contest, and you'll get that end date. And if you enter before then, you get 2 entries. And the vinyl he's giving away is really good. And that was another kind of kick in the ass for me to do this. So there's some pretty righteous vinyl he's giving away. In fact, Billy. Where's Billy? Right there. That Queensryche or the Iron Maiden Live After Death has my name on it. Yes. Come on, Billy. Anyways, in fact, that Queensryche was the only. I had to have a look. That's the only one I don't have. And the Iron Maiden, the club edition one, just kind of seems pretty cool. So, anyways, I'm gonna get right to it. So once again, I want to encourage everyone to go visit Billy Hurst's channel. I'll provide a link in the description. Sorry, I'm pointing somewhere really inappropriate. Down here, I'll put a link to Billy's channel. So, my name is David. I could have went for Dave, but I really hate being called Dave. I really do. So I'm going to go with my birth name of David. And I'm going to share some albums. A few of them have stories, personal stories. And I think Billy was requesting maybe some stories to go along with them. Like I said, if Billy's looking for a story, he came to the right guy on this one. So, I didn't say they're interesting stories, but they're stories nonetheless. So for David, we could all follow along the alphabet and the running order of how to spell David on this one. But we're going to go with the Doors' first album for my first letter. The Doors, this is a first pressing gold Electra label that I got at Goodwill for $1. Believe it or not. Not that that's part of this video. This is about Billy, not about me and my obsessive thrift store shopping. The Doors' first album. The Doors. Everyone goes through a Doors phase. And it's amazing that I did. Me and my friends went through one when Lost Boys came out. That movie Lost Boys. And Echo and the Bunnymen covered People Are Strange. And everyone was aware of the Doors before that. Everyone in high school, in my high school, but Echo and the Bunnymen were kind of a cool band at the time for us, little punkers and alternative kids. So we thought, wow, this is maybe worth a little bit more investigating than the couple songs we knew. And it seems like it's a birthright. Everyone has a Doors phase. Everyone has 5 minutes they like ska. Everyone goes through a Doors phase. So all my friends, we went through this crazy Doors phase because of Echo and the Bunnymen's cover of People Are Strange and the Lost Boys. And there's that red and white greatest hits album, the cassette for that one. Or there's that double length other greatest hits with Jim Morrison standing there from here up. You guys all know what I'm talking about. I think we all burnt that cassette right out. And in fact, here's the odd thing about it. It goes from generation to generation. I'm trying to think of when Lost Boys came out, maybe 87, 88, around there. But my daughter, who's 19, she went through a Doors phase. So, like, 100 years later, kids are still going through Doors phases. And I just think it's one of those weird things that will go on and on and on. For our grandkids probably will still be going through Doors phases if our world is still existing then. So that's why I chose the Doors. I kind of wanted to express my kind of amazement that the Doors phase I went through like 30 years ago, kids today are still going through these same Doors phases, and some kind of it's a passing thing, and some kids are just latching onto it, and it'll be like me. You went through that phase and it never left you. So it's just, it's proof positive that good music will win out every time. So for D and David, I chose the Doors' first album. All right, for A, I went with some good Canadian product here. Anvil, Metal on Metal. I met Anvil when they did that movie. They did a tour, and I saw them at a club here, and it wasn't even one of those meet and greet type deals. It was just, the band is so cool that they towel off, excuse me, they just come out and they talk to the crowd. And they were promoting that album called This Is 13, which is just an amazing album. Everything they released since then is kind of, but that album is really good. But this is probably their most well-known album. And they were such nice guys. Lips is like that guy in the movie. That's straight up legit. Rob Reiner, the drummer, he's kind of like he's in the movie. He's very aloof, and just couldn't be bothered by anything. And maybe that's just, he's just too cool for the room because he's been through everything in life. But Anvil, Metal on Metal, probably one of the greatest Canadian heavy metal albums to ever come out. It's got to be in that top 10 anyways. So Billy, number 2 is Anvil for the A, and David, Metal on Metal. Okay, here's a good one. Okay, so V, D-A-V. God, I have to spell my name out. It's early, Billy. I just got off a 9-hour shift. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Couldn't Stand the Weather. I talked to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and there's proof on the internet, unless there's sometimes these links come on and off depending what site you go to. But I talked to Stevie Ray Vaughan on the radio. This album particularly is one of my favorites, and I got into Stevie Ray Vaughan really early in life. So our Canadian music channel, video channel, Much Music, they used to play Cold Shot all the time, and it was in their video charts. And that video is so awesome. If you have not seen the video for Cold Shot by Stevie Ray Vaughan, please go watch it. And this probably has one of the best covers of all time in his cover of Voodoo Child on this. In fact, there's even a better version on the Live at Carnegie Hall album that he did of that song. But Stevie Ray Vaughan, Couldn't Stand the Weather. Okay, so here's the story about me talking to Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I do have audio of it somewhere on an old blank audio cassette, or I guess it's not blank, but on an old cassette I have. But there's, like I said, there's links periodically on the internet. There was a syndicated radio talk show called Rockline, hosted by Bob Coburn, who recently passed away. I'm sure a lot of you know that radio show, Rockline. And I was an obsessive caller from when I was very young. And I'm not sure if I've told this story before, but I found out how to always get in. Someone at my local affiliate kind of gave me some tips once. So I knew exactly kind of how early to call. I knew what kind of questions to ask. I knew always to have backup questions. And the reason I would call no matter who was on. And I didn't get on every time, but 75% of the time I got through. And I would get on because we didn't have a lot of money growing up. So if I wanted albums, I had to hustle. Take bottles in, just do anything. Kind of a lost work ethic among most kids these days, sadly. But I would hustle to get my music. And if you got into Rockline and you got on the air, even if you didn't get on the air, because a couple times I didn't make the cut, they ran out of time. But anyways, you got mailed an album. Usually it was an album. A lot of times it was signed. So I would always get an album, and when CDs became a thing, I would get a CD in the mail. So that was my main thing. But I was a huge Stevie Ray Vaughan fan anyways. So I got through to Rockline. Here's the thing. He was on promoting his In Step album. And I was the last ever caller to talk to Stevie Ray Vaughan, who died just right, I think it might have been a month after that show aired. I was the last caller. I think 3-4 weeks later he died. I could be wrong on the time frame, but you can Google it and find out his appearances on Rockline and then when his death was. But it wasn't too long after. And I asked him a question about his sobriety, which he was all too willing to oblige me on and talk about. And he died, and then in the mail, like a couple days later, I got the In Step album. And there was not too long ago, there was a Rockline official site where they would offer some free episodes, and then you could also pay like $1.99 or whatever it was to download an episode. But that site's been taken down since Bob Colburn's died, or that show went off the air. Periodically, a Stevie Ray Vaughan fan site will post that, and I'll play it for my wife or people. And if I can find this old cassette, I might transfer to digital. But I talk to a lot of people. But that's my Stevie Ray Vaughan story. Billy, I'm so sorry this video is going on forever. But talking to Stevie Ray Vaughan it's up there with meeting David Bowie. It's one of those magical moments in my life. Was I was like a 16-year-old kid talking to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and just, you know, and I've just been in love with that man ever since, and his music. So. Wow, that's a long story to get to V. So that was V, Stevie Ray Vaughan's Couldn't Stand the Weather. An album that for me is just, I mean, all of his albums are flawless, but this one, I had to pull this one because Cold Shot was the song and the video that got me into Stevie Ray Vaughan. All right, we're gonna go with I. And I pulled INXS Live Baby Live because I honestly believe INXS were one of those bands that they rocked hard enough. A lot of rock fans liked them, and then they kind of crossed the line. They were like cool. They were a lot of the cool alternative kids in high school liked them, but then the rockers liked them, and then the girls liked them. They kind of crossed a lot of demographics. And this album here, like I said, I firmly believe this is probably one of the best live albums. And the accompanying concert video for this, which I had on VHS but now I have on DVD, is one of the best concerts I've ever seen on video. It was recorded live at Wembley Stadium on their X tour, which was a really good album. So they had, by that time they were a full-on, they were one of those live bands at that very moment in time that I don't know if anyone could touch. They were firing on all cylinders. And here's the odd thing about INXS, and I do have this on audio cassette, I know where it is like Stevie Ray Vaughan, I talked to INXS on Rockline. They were my very first call-in I got through. 1987, I believe it was, they were on promoting Kick. This is before Kick really took off. And I got on to talk to Michael Hutchence and INXS. And once again, I got a free copy of Kick in the mail. So like I said, I was so obsessive about music that I would spend my Monday night and, rushing through my homework, and so I could spend Monday night calling in and being on hold to talk to Rockline, whoever was on that night, if I could get through, and I got my question approved. But Michael Hutchence and INXS was one of those bands, just like Stevie Ray Vaughan, I got through, and that was my very first one. So the I in David is for INXS Live Baby Live. It's one of those bands that, like I said, they cross every demographic, and I'm amazed by how many people I've met, hardcore headbangers, man, who are into black metal and thrash, and they like INXS. They'll come to my 80s nights and they'll decked out, because the girls go to my club nights, and so they know where the girls are. But they love INXS. So I gotta give INXS props for that. You made music that just, it had no boundaries. And this album, particularly this live album, I've already said it. I think it's one of the best live albums ever. We're at the very end for the last D. Oh, by the way, I just got home, and the first thing I do when I get home from work, Billy, in the morning, because I work all night, is I say hi to my dogs. I get undressed and I change into my jammy bottoms. So I got my Pac-Man jammies on, just in case the camera caught them. Yeah. So you're catching me in my jammy bottoms, everyone. Right now, Billy on Instagram, he's counting down his top metal albums. I believe that his top metal albums of all time. And I can't remember, Billy, if they're the top thrash metal albums or top metal albums. Something tells me it's thrash for some reason. I've been looking at them every time you post them. So one of the big reasons I really love Billy's channel is he's a bit more into country than I am. But I grew up with country from my dad. And it's that music I would never have told my dad I liked. But as I got older, my old man was right, because the tunes that he was playing around the house, I'm listening to now. It's just not something I show a lot of, but Billy's taste in music, I see a lot of myself in that. I know I show a lot of obscure stuff, Billy, but trust me, like, I have all that same stuff you show. It's just, you know, I really respect your taste in music. Very rarely will you show something and I'll be like, ugh. But it's pretty much quality all the way through. So I guess I'm talking to two different kind of people. I'm talking to Billy directly, and I'm talking to the people I hope will go to Billy's channel and subscribe. He's such a nice guy, and Billy can show you a country, like he can show you a Dwight Yoakam album or Keith Whitley, and then he can show you a thrash metal album, and everything in between. And that's when Billy talks with such genuine love and passion for music, and that's what I look for in a channel I subscribe to. I look for that passion, and Billy has it in spades. Plus, he's got a cool job. Anyways, getting back to what Billy's doing on Instagram. What made me think of this album, that I'm not sure if this will make your list or what you think of this album, Billy, but in high school, for a brief moment in time, this was the thrash metal album to own. This was the underground thrash album to own. And I'm going to show you all Death Angel, the Ultraviolence. My best friend in high school, my friend, he ended up marrying my sister, oddly enough. Sounds like I come from some backwoods hillbilly city. My best friend married my sister. He did. I don't know how he even, okay, I know, yeah, it's all coming, I do remember how he discovered Death Angel. Once again, our video channel in Canada, this is all coming back to me now, 100 years later. Our video channel in Canada, Much Music, they had a metal show called The Power Hour. So if you're Canadian, you might know what I'm talking about. They used to play the video for Voracious Souls. That's how it happened. He saw that video. He was kind of ahead of me on that. He went and bought the album for the Ultraviolence, and then it was kind of hard to find in our parts, and he had a copy from some import store. And we would go to his house, and we would just groove on this album. And then I eventually got a copy, and I've worn through 100,000 copies of that on cassette and CD and vinyl. To me, this is one of the best thrash metal albums of all time. The original demo for this was produced by Kirk Hammett from Metallica, if you didn't know that. The original demo for this was called Kill As One, and it was a cassette-only release that Kirk Hammett produced. And the amazing thing about Death Angel, they were all like, when this album came out and they recorded this, they were all like, what, 15, 16, 14, 15, 16, maybe some were younger. They were all related somehow, and they were Filipino. Talk about odd combinations. Like, kids that were younger than me in high school, who were of a nationality who weren't known for metal, and they made one of the best thrash albums of all time. Bay Area's Death Angel. Like I said, it was the album in high school. For a brief moment in time, we were just all fighting to find this album. And to this day, like, there's not a bad note on this album. So I'm going to end this all up quickly. I'm recording a 20-minute sub video. I mean, what do you expect from me? I talk a lot. Probably because I don't talk to anyone during the day. I got to get it all out here. Billy, my last pick for David is Death Angel Altar Violence. So I'm going to wrap this up really quickly here. Deep Purple's Burn just ended, so I made it one side of an album. Like I said, I want to encourage everyone, please go to Billy's channel. Billy, for my Stevie Ray Vaughan story, I want 5 entries, dude. Anyways, please go to his channel. Please subscribe. Enter his contest. The albums he's giving away are just stellar. So, but if you win, don't friggin' take the Queensryche or Iron Maiden. Please, don't. Anyways, Billy, I think you're great, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So we'll see you again down the line. Take care.